Don't forget that we're still looking at healthy breast this month. Of course, you've seen that I forgot my ribbon, I must confess. But let's move on to some other issues. Now, the Progressive People's Party, PPP, is demanding the removal of chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, and her deputies. Briefing the media in Accra, chairman of the party, Ni Alotebru Hammond, said the chaos ongoing at the EC has tainted the image of the commission, hence the need for her and her deputies to step down. He also urged the Chief Justice to speed up proceedings on its investigations.
As a major stakeholder in Ghana's electoral system, we believe the commissioners have tainted the image of the Electoral Commission so badly that, for the good and interest of Ghana, these commissioners must be advised to step aside. We are extremely worried that the inharmonious stay in office of these commissioners is gravely affecting operational activities at the Commission, as district electoral officers are on tenterhooks waiting for this impasse to sink so that their allowances and other outstanding emoluments could be paid to them. We know that the EC is one of the most sensitive institutions in the country, and we cannot therefore allow these allegations to worsen unduly. We believe that the issues raised in the allegations are serious enough to merit a sense of urgency in its investigation, as the allegations have the potential to disturb the peace of this country. We urge the Chief Justice not to develop a cold feet in proceeding with investigations to determine if there is a prima facie case or not, and the possible impeachment of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission if there is one.
Alotebru Hammond there, he's in the studio with me. He is chairman of the PPP. So you're welcome, good to have you.
Thank you.
Is this really necessary?
What is necessary?
What you're doing at the moment?
Well, we believe that we were unfairly and unlawfully treated by the Electoral Commission.
So it's a personal thing?
Well, it's not personal to me.
It's a personal thing. It's a personal fight that the PPP is seeking to have with the Electoral.
We were unfairly treated. So if you want to call it personal, then how did the personal relationship originate from?
I'm saying that because just because you have been unfairly, or you think, you believe you have been unfairly treated by someone, does that really necessitate?
Which someone?
By the electoral,
yes.
by the chairperson. Hold on for me.
No, by the chairperson. By the Electoral Commission.
By the Electoral Commission. That's where your issue is. Okay. So just because you have an issue with the Electoral Commission, does it necessarily mean you should seek her removal from office?
Well, we are not seeking her removal. Nowhere in my statement did I say that we were seeking, we said should be advised because of the enormity of the grievances being expressed by the employees.
Between herself and the two deputies, you mean?
Between all of that, there are many issues around it.
Is there some information available to you that we do not have?
Well, what you have is that the petition has gone to the President. The President has referred it to the Chief Justice to investigate.
Okay.
We are waiting for the Chief Justice to provide us with some information as to whether there's a prima facie case based on the allegations submitted. Okay. We are just trying to move the hand of the Chief Justice so that she can hurry up faster and tell us and tell the whole world that there is something in what has been submitted. So once there is, we view that some of what has been out in the public domain is serious enough to be advised by. If we were advising her, we would say, young woman, please step down.
Okay, so let me look at what you are seeking to achieve. First, you have now made it clear to me that you are seeking to fast track the case before the Chief Justice.
Precisely.
Secondly, from what you have just said, you want her out of office as...
I don't want her out.
But you're saying that if you are advising...
If I were advising her,
it's pretty much the same.
Well, it's not the same. It's up to her to decide whether she will step down.
But you advise her. In your opinion, you think she should have stepped aside by now?
Because, in my opinion, the charges brought by the employees are serious enough to create doubt.
Okay.
And the fact that in the meantime, the officers are waiting for some emoluments to be paid, and it's being held up. So it is creating
the
this...
EC office.
The EC officers. Okay. It is creating some amount of tension within the establishment. And it's not good for the country if we have the Electoral Commission under siege.
What evidence do you have to this effect, to the final point that you made about, the workers or EC officials seeking some payments and the fact that the payment has delayed and so it's causing some sort of tension?
That's all in the public domain.
Because
I'm not manufacturing it.
What's between the EC chair and her two deputies, which we saw, wasn't really an issue of finances?
Yes, but what between the EC chair and the two commissions was not what precipitated this. The employees themselves have submitted something. And what is before the Chief Justice is not the dispute between the chairperson and the two commissioners. It is what the employees have submitted. That is what we are looking at, and that is what we need to be concerned about.
Okay, so two things are clear to me. One, the Chief Justice should hurry up with this investigation. Two, if you were to advise Charlotte or say you'd ask her to step aside, are there any other goals you are seeking to achieve with what you have done today?
Well, the other goal we are seeking to achieve is that never again should we have an institution, a public institution, take the law into their own hands and do anything they will want to do. A year ago, the laws guiding the elections was the CI 94. And in the CI 94 was the Regulation 9 that stipulated that should any errors be found, that the candidate would be given an opportunity to alter and amend. That particular Regulation 9 was not invoked by the Electoral Commission. They decided to gloss over that regulation, even when the High Court ruled that the candidate must be given an opportunity to alter and amend. The Electoral Commission did a U-turn and decided to go to the Supreme Court. At whose expense? You and I paid for the the defense of the case.
If I can marry what you have just said with what you said previously, it means that there is certainly personal scores that the PPP.
Well, you can describe it as a personal.
That the PPP has.
Well, choose to
that the PPP has with the Electoral Commission.
If they've done it to us, they can do it to you. Would you wait till it is done to you before you take the matter up? I presume that's what you are trying to tell me, that you should wait for somebody else to be caught in the same web before they speak up.
In your statement, you mentioned disturbing the peace of
Precisely.
the country. I'm wondering exactly what action is going to disturb the peace of the country as compared to asking a lawfully instituted head of the Electoral Commission to say step aside. Wouldn't you think that it will lead to the politicization of the institution, which is something that a lot of people have fears about?
Well, it shouldn't be if we're doing the right thing. In the previous election, 2012 election, Madam former First Lady Nana Konedu Agyemang was faced with a similar situation. What did the Electoral Commission do? They asked her to effect the amendment and alteration and submit an amended forms. She was not able to submit the forms before the close of day, and that is what necessitated the disqualification of Nana Konedu Agyemang Rawlings. So the law was followed, and that is what we expect that will be done. Now look at what is happening in Kenya. Look at what is happening in Uganda. Some small things like that can spark controversy.
But you cannot have an institution like the Electoral Commission given the respect and the respect that it requires, the confidence it requires of the people, if it appears that the leadership of the institution is being politicized. And that is an argument that people have made, that there is a certain political invincible hands behind the whole petitioning that is seeking to remove Charlotte Osei because she was appointed by the previous administration.
Our history in this Fourth Republic has always had those in opposition displeased with the Electoral Commissioner. Dr. Farijan was not the favorite son of the MPP because the appointment was done under the NDC administration. Now we have Charlotte Osei, who was also appointed by the NDC, and naturally at that time the MPP didn't particularly like the choice.
But there weren't vociferous efforts to, so to speak, remove him.
Well, they chose
office.
not to be vociferous. PPP has chosen to observe this, and we will observe it annually.
Okay.
On this October 10th, we will observe it annually. So expect that we will observe it again in 2018, because we want to keep it in the minds of the public that there is no reason why laws that we have put together to conduct an election must be overlooked.
I see. Is the PPP, to what extent is the PPP aligned with the NPP?
Oh, we are not aligned with the NPP, nor with the NDC.
The last time I spoke to you,
we are looking for a united front of the smaller parties, and that is what effort we are putting in. We're engaging discussions with the other smaller parties.
Well, there are thoughts out there that the PPP is highly connected to the NPP somehow.
Well, that's the first I'm hearing. So
okay.
if there's a connection, I don't know. I'm not connected to
you are not connected to it. And I'm saying this so that I can marry this particular argument with the argument of politicization of the head of the Electoral Commission. That because the NDC then appointed her, now the NPP is in, and those who are petitioning the president, for example, to remove her are doing so because she was not appointed by the
we are suggesting that another method be employed to employ the Electoral Commissioner. We should make it non-partisan, involve the political parties, involve Parliament. And if we do a confirmed Electoral Commission by Parliament, say 2/3 confirmation, would make the person acceptable to all.
Okay.
But as it stands now, it is just the president who, in consultation with the Council of State, appoints.
Okay.
And nothing happens.
Okay. I hope, I mean, we'll look forward. We'll see how it goes. So 3 key objectives: that the Chief Justice fast-tracks the investigation against that have been brought, or that have the petition, based on the petition that was brought against the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, and 2, that the Electoral Commission chair herself should perhaps consider stepping aside. And the final one I've forgotten was the final goal.
The fact that we were unlawfully treated and unfairly treated.
No, there was some other one. That wasn't the case. But whilst I think of that, try to remember. Yes, let me finally take your thoughts on the gas explosion. You were one of the people who issued a statement about it.
It's unfortunate that we've had gas explosions occurring numerous times. This is about the 3rd time in the year. And each time it happens, the authorities come and tell us what they will do to forestall.
Maybe what we want to hear.
Possibly so. And maybe this is what they are telling us, and then there'll be another one in the next few months. But it's time to put a stop to it. It's time to ensure that the various interagencies that control gas, energy, come together, sit down, work out a standard, and make sure that the players in there are trained, certified, so that when they are engaging in these things, that it will be done in a manner. Look, when you go outside this country, many of the homes are wired to supply gas, but you don't have explosions going on like that. It's because of the standards and the training and the certification of the operators and the enforcement.
This afternoon, the EPA has spoken. The EPA seems to be one of the people with whom the bus stopped, and they have said that it's not about where it is located. It's not about where the filling station is sited, and that it is about the standards that they observe. Do you agree with that?
Well, that is what I'm alluding to, that some standards have not been properly put together for execution.
So for you, it's not about where they are located, because there are people in
the
neighborhoods.
Law, it's a multiplicity of regions. The law, it says that the situation of the gas must not be within a certain parameter,
right?
100 meters.
Okay. So you disagree with them when they say that the siting of fuel stations in residential and commercial areas do not breach any law? That's their position.
Well,
the EPA
as far as I know, it does breach if it is within the 100 meters perimeter. Right. If it is within the 100 meters perimeter, it has breached the law. And that's what I know. If I'm wrong, they should educate me on that.
Okay. Are you confident? Are you settled? Are you satisfied as a leader of a group as big as the PPP, a political group of that, for that matter, with the response that we're getting so far from government authorities, from state agencies like the EPA, the NPA?
I'm not overly convinced, because we hear this all the time.
Okay.
This is the 8th time that we've had a gas explosion in the last 3 years. And all of these things were said. I mean, what's new being said today?
Okay.
They've all been said about for the last 3 years.
Okay.
And the 8 occurrences of the gas explosion, they said the same thing. So
Okay.
if there would be some effect to what they are saying, we shouldn't see another gas explosion for the next 20 years.
It should be beyond the words, and we should see more action.
Precisely.
Sir, thank you very much for coming through
Thank you for
to
inviting
the
me.
studio. Nialit Ibrahim is chairman of the PPP, and of course you have heard their motives for coming here. It's still the Pulse with me, Gifty and Doc.